Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's in the house and we are excited. I've got my pen and my paper, Coach Caren. I'm ready.
You're ready. You're ready.
She's going to be talking today about building systems. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. What's going on, Coach?
Okay, so we're just going to take a step back because last week we talked about habit tracking, and we're going to take that habit tracking and turn it into a system because we're going to use this to our advantages. We're not going to be afraid to use it. Whatever we find out, we got to, we were tracking it, so we find out what works and what didn't work. And even if it worked, but not to the full capacity, we're going to systemize it, so we're going to truly see it work. And here's the funny thing. When you realize that anything that you track and you systemize work, you surprise yourself every time, even if you know you did it before. You just surprise yourself every time. And you guys know I like to bring your story along with that. Years ago in school, when I used to do needlepoint, I had a principal who had brought the idea in for us to make sandals, macrame sandals. And so we'd make the top of the sandals, and she would get the shoemaker to do the soles. And she brought it in and she put it on a piece of cardboard. We'd known to do macrame already, and it was set up, and all us girls sit out in a row, and anybody wanted to join the class could. And a lot of people drop off of the class because it was hard when you didn't know what to do. But over the weeks, the people who stayed the course started, I can do 2 to 3 sandals within that time strain that we had because you got used to the system. You get it centered, you start doing all the knots from inside, working your way out. You measure, you stay tuned. You have this little diagram telling you how much knots for each sandals, what you're going to do next, and all that stuff. So you learn how to tie on, tie off. And the people who are following the system will find. The people who weren't following the system, the knots will knot up. They will find themselves in a bundle mess. And at the end of the day, we're lucky if they finish 1 sandals because they couldn't get it to the end because they weren't following the system, the instruction. It was systemized. If you didn't like system, or you think, well, I know a better way. Because there's always a better way to do anything. But is the better way really better? So that's something also you got to think about. It's not like you can't try it, but not everything need improvement right away. I always tell my kids, learn to do the foundational things first, and then you can go off and put your twist on it. But get the foundation done. If you're learning how to bake cake, they've got different types of cake. And if you're baking an egg sponge, it's different than if you baking, say, for instance, a pound cake. A pound cake, you need a pound of everything. That's a pound cake. If you're dealing with a Swiss roll, it's a different type of cake. It's only egg whites you're using. And if you dealing with an egg sponge, you're going to want to beat the egg whites first, and then you're going to use the yolk of the egg, and then at the end, you're going to fold in the egg whites. That's a different type of cake, and they all have their place and system. All right, so without any further ado, just to get a little intro why these things are important. I know I like to talk about food because that's where I get my start. It's in food.
And it's something we can all relate to.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
we all eat.
Yes. And even if we don't bake or cook ourselves, we've seen it or have experienced some form of it, right? So we kind of so that's it. So
I think those are great examples. I think food's a great example. We can all relate to it.
Yeah, no matter where you're from, you have to eat.
Exactly.
How to do it. So today we'll talk about how do we build a system and how do we test the system. And what do we do next once it's built? Because if you're the big picture girl, like I have always been, sometimes you get excited about all that I talk about. Then once it's set up, you're like, so what do I do now? Or I don't want to do what comes next, So let's get into that. But first we'll talk about the meaning, building a system. A set of things working together as part of a mechanism. That's what a system is. Set of things working together as part of a mechanism. We need right hand, left hand, eye hand coordination so that system works. And even if it's not our body, whatever we're putting in, we need that to start. There's my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Something and then attach something. That's what systems are. So, how do we build a system? We decide the end game. But before we decide the end game, we look at, sometimes people miss this part, where we are right now. And last week we
Mm-hmm.
talked about habit tracking. So, how did we do? Did we track the habits, good or bad? Did we track them? And are we spending time tweaking the ones that need tweaking? Some people say, well,
Mm.
just stick to the good habits. Don't worry about the bad. But we have to pay
Yeah.
attention to see if the bad is pulling us way more over than the good ones. So we got to pay attention to that. So where are you right now? What are you doing?
Okay.
What is not working? What do you like to shift around, change around? What is working? What makes sense? What is going to get your business to where you want to see it? What's going to
Mm.
make you live the kind of life that you've been dreaming about, that you've positioned yourself to be in? What are the things you need to do, good or bad again, or in
Mm-hmm.
between? Get that down pat, get that in the head and understand it. And again, try it out. There's no point in not trying it out. And when I say try it out, I don't mean try to do this. I mean actually do it, but try it out in the sense of watching to see what it does for you. I want to be clear on
Mm-hmm.
that. Because when you try to do something, you're half weighing it, half-assing it, because you're just trying. But when you actually
Uh-huh.
do it, no matter how poorly you're doing it, you are doing it. This is what you have
Okay.
to know. When you're doing it, you're doing it. Even if you mess up, you're fully
Mm.
in there doing it. But when you're trying, there's a lot of hesitation and nothing really is getting fully done. So that's what I really want you to hear. So get in there. So now you know where you are. And you're taking a step back to see what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. And that's how you're going to build a system. But here's the other thing. You might write number 1 to 5 for this system. But
Okay.
once you start using the system, you might see that number 5 should be number 1. This is where the trial
Mm.
part come into play. Or you might see number 3 need to be number 4. Move it around. Move it around. Don't feel like
So
you're
it's okay
confused.
to sort of figure out the puzzle pieces that
Yeah.
work for you. You may
Mm-hmm.
need all these things, but not necessarily in that order. So
Yes.
as you find that this works better, it's okay to change the order. It's what are you saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't
You
be
need that
scared.
flexibility. Yeah. Don't be scared. You need that flexibility. That's why I like to tell people get a pen and paper because you have more control than the computer is great, but you have more control when here's what I find computers and programs do. They're great, but here's what they do. Now you're into where do I find a straight line and how do I find the arrow to point here and how do I pick this up and move it there? That'll come.
Mhm.
Spend time on pen and paper because you can erase, you can rip up the paper, you can get back in there, draw the triangle, draw the stairs, do whatever you need to do. Once that is
Mhm.
ready, then you can find an app. Then you can go Google Drive, Canva, any way you want and make it look pretty. But first, a lot of people go in those places and just waste time because you're busy trying to figure out their element. But if you came with your
Yes.
own and understand what you want to do, it's easier to
Mhm.
build a system. The pretty look good and people say, well, it's easy to do, but it's not easy for the person who doesn't know what they're going on to Canva, Google, anyway,
Correct.
and do. You got to know what you're going to do. And, I learned this over time myself. So don't beat yourself up. If you truly is doing the work, take a step back, take away from everything, get pen and paper out and get yourself there and make sure that you are doing it the way you need to do it. Trial and error, trial and error. Get the
Mhm.
first thing, the first things. Get it out there. Get what is it you want to say, what you want to do, the life you want to live. Because it boils down to that. It really boils down to what is it you want to eventually get out of life. No matter what kind
Mhm.
of business you have. If your business is doing great, but at the end of the day, you have nothing to go home to go back to be involved with, you start feeling empty. You start
Mhm.
losing your drive. This is why a lot of people, when they make money, they go back to places they lived before. They help other people who is suffering because they're looking for meaning. They're looking for purpose. They're looking for,
Yes.
I've put all of this. Where do I come in and help? And nothing's wrong with that. because sometimes it might have been on their vision board or wherever it was for a while, and now they're able to return and do it. But you have to have these things set up in place so that you can work through where you are right now to get to the places you want to be. But then this place, this desire is there, so you can easily look back and say, well, this is the life I want. This is what I want to see, and here's the steps I'm taking to get there. And you build it system wise, because, and I still see this to today, people get into work and don't know what to do in their job because it's their job. It's not a job that's being paid for anymore. And usually it makes them return to work, because if they haven't figured out how to be in business for themselves, they can't do it. And I'm not saying this in no shape or form that this hasn't happened to me when I first came on the online scene. I had to recharge myself to think, because I came from a place where, so I had my hairdressing business. So therefore I know I book clients, they come in, I get the hair done. I write it in my books. I got it set up. This was a different ball game for me. So if you're online and it's different, I understand. Okay. You still got to know what you're coming in and do. So which days am I going to do marketing? Which day am I talking to the ad specialist? Did I like that my ad run well? I want to call back to find out, to tell them the results wasn't great. Could they put me in a different part of the paper? Because those days were in the newspaper. Is my flyers working? Like, I had to still be diligent in my business and track all these things. So I systemize that business as I was only doing hair some Mondays, but I was fully doing hair on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. That was my days. The rest of the days was all about marketing, sales, and then eventually I had incorporated teaching classes. So classes were held Monday and Wednesday afternoon, and people used to come in person to get braiding, weaving classes from me. So those days I wouldn't do hair. The only way we'll do hair is if they're bringing in a client as a sampler so that they can work on a person and I get to critique. So, but everything was systemized. And those ladies that went away did very well because they bought I sold with a system. And I think that I had this a couple of students, but a specific student, she says, Caren, could I take a break and come back when I'm free? I'm like, what happened? She's like, I run with everything you told me. I am so busy. I can't attend class. I said, no. We want the business to succeed. So what you're going to do is take a day for class and practice, because we don't want you to get so busy. Here's the other thing. If you're in school and that's what you're doing for what you're doing, you want to finish up. What we think is we don't need to finish up because we learn enough. If the class is still going on, there's things you haven't learned yet. And if you might need it right away, you'll see how it'll take you further. And she came back.
That's a really good point. If the class is not finished, there's still stuff to learn. That is, did you hear that, guys? If the course is not over, there's still something we need to learn. Like you said, we might not need it immediately, but at some point we're going to need it or it wouldn't be in the course.
Exactly. She came back a month later. She says, I heard you. I think God heard you too, because people cancel and I suddenly got free time. I said, yes, because you're at this point. She didn't finish the full weaving closure yet. She had more notes to take. She didn't finish with that chunk. She didn't do like that chunk. But she starts seeing how if somebody called her for something, she can look in her books and see if she could say yes or no, because she's not comfortable yet. So she didn't have enough practices in certain areas, And she was doing half price to get people in to get testimony and that sort of stuff. And that was great. But I wanted her to feel confident in it. And, I was happy that she came back, because within the year, her business really took off. But had she not come back and finished those crucial parts, should have been able to go halfway. And she'd learn along the way, I'm sure. Because, we can, but why put yourself through that when you can get everything when you paid for a program?
Right.
So, yeah. So you want to build those systems in place. And it didn't matter what you sell. I tell people you could be selling an earring, putting in only headpieces. You still need to have a system. When the phone rings, what happens? Do you have a book that you take information down? And in that book should have the person's name, telephone number, if they have an email, and the best way to reach them. Meaning, do they like a phone call or do they like text or email? They need to answer that for you so you know how to reach out to them. When you have the consultation with them, and we're talking here, when you have the consultation with them, and it could be anything really, you get to explain how your business run, and you get to talk to them about what they're expecting from you. All of that is systems in place. The other thing you need to know, so that's the part, the personal part. Then you need to know in your system, how do you eventually automate that? But before we get there, how do you look after marketing? How do you do sales? And if it's something you don't like, at what point in your business are you going to want to source that out? Get somebody else to do that. Who's going to look after the books? Who's going to make sure that you're on target for your first, second, third, and fourth quarter, to make sure the business is profitable? How are you? Next set of system you want to build out is your feeling. Do you work according to how you feel? Don't lie to anybody, to yourself, anybody else. Don't lie to yourself. How do you feel certain part of the day? What makes you tick? Is money's driving you? Is it the satisfaction of the client that drives you? Don't listen to what somebody else says drive them. What drives you? How do you feel? Because those are so important things that people, it's soft skills, so people just push it aside, like, go do it anyway. How do you feel? So that you understand how to schedule in people, and whether that's hair, a cleaning business, coaching like I do, what time is best? You need to understand that so that you can be really involved with this business that you want to grow. And not only for that reason, but when you decide to have somebody come in and be your assistant, and when people fight me on this, I say to them, you don't have to have an assistant, but it is a really good thing to consider, because you get to go on vacation. You get time to rest. You get time to go and refresh. And when you have nobody but you, your business, it's hard for your business really to succeed and grow with you alone. No man is an island. No man is an island. You need somebody. Yes, you need to pray. Yes, you need to do, but you need somebody. So if you have system in place, you can't just have the system and just say, plug it in and they'll follow. Most people are coming to you, even if they're qualified, they still want direction, because they want to work at their top tier, and they feel they can only do that if they're bringing to your company what you expect them to bring, along with what they know. So when it's systemized and somebody come into play and you say, here's the things that I want to see happen in this company, and would you want to be a part of it, and would this work together, and we'll be doing great, and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah. Or I don't like to do this, this, and that, but I could totally do this. Like, that's what you want. That's where you want things to go,
Wow. Something, having a system is so important. It's just, to me, it's very freeing.
Yes.
Because I know what's next.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I know what's next on my schedule. I plan for it. My mind is rested because I'm not worried about what's going on tomorrow or at the end of the day, because I have a system.
Yes.
So it can be very liberating.
Very liberating. Very liberating, And number 2 is really, how do we test it? We got to test the system. Test the system. And when you bring somebody on board, it really helps you test the system. If you have kids, you can have them help you test the system. You can have a friend help you test the system. And it helps you so that when you bring people on, they can test the system, right?
Yes.
They get to give you their opinion. You don't have to use everything they tell you, but you might want to give a listening ear. Pay attention a little bit about it, and see what needs tweaking. It doesn't have to do everything, but some things might need a little bit of a tweak. You might say, well, there's a better way to do it. Again, we'll talk food here. When I started my planning your businesses years and years ago, I didn't know what to do when I first started. So I built out my system. And my system was, I'm in a hot climate, and the planting ripe really quickly. I said, okay, my mom got tons of plates. I'm living with my mom. Let me just put the plant in, slice them, and put them on the plates and put them in the sun to dry. So while I'm frying, at least they wouldn't stick up to each other, because at the time I didn't have a slice yet. I was brand new in the business. I was cutting it with a knife. And, friends of mine came and get involved, and we'll be drying, planting all on my mom's balcony. friends of mine built tables outside in the yard. It was the craziest setup, but it was system. Because when friends came to help, everybody who came to help would say to me, so Caren, where are we? Meaning, what part of the day we are. So I'll say, okay, so I'm in frying moon. And they're like, okay, is anything sliced? And if I say it's sliced, then they come, they wash their hands, and they get to the picking up and just putting them on the plate and spacing them out. If another friend came and saw that somebody else was doing, they might join, or they'll come in and say, so what can I do? I'm like, I got a bucket full fried and drained. I'm ready for packing. I did all the sealing because the sealing allowed me to make sure I check for quality control. So people will help me put out the planting, will help me pack, but I wouldn't have anybody else seal because my name is there. So for me, the frying and the sealing, that end to end was huge. So I make sure I did all the frying so it's crispy and to its utmost, best quality. And then the end results, the packing to make sure it was packed well, the right amount was inside, and then I seal it, label it, and it's ready to go. And so that was systemized. So when the planting come, even if my friends drop off the planting or I got to drop off when I get to that stage and my siblings are around, when it comes, they wash the planting and it's there waiting to drain. It's there draining. Nobody's peeling it. It's there waiting, they're draining. If it's drained and I wasn't there, then they can peel it for me because it's systemized. So it's wash, drain, peel, slice, put out to dry, fry, drain, package, seal. So we had 10 steps and then distributed out to the wholesaler, to the retailers, because we have time. And I also sell retail so people buy directly from me. And so like clockwork, people come 3:30 in the afternoon. Everybody's like, it's their planning trip. That's all I want to know. And literally we have it ready to go. For the wholesalers, it's first thing in the morning. So there is our pack and waiting to go. First thing in the morning, we drop that off and then we start over it is. So sometimes people come to buy, I'm not there, but everything is going in this cycle. The system was built out because I tested already. If the plant is together, it would stick up and be harder. If it goes in the oil and it's been sitting around, it sticks together. And so I had to learn. Then this new system was, I got a slicer and I would slice right over there. So I took away a step. This is the thing about testing systems too. Once I got a slicer, I realized I didn't need that other take out, put in a plate, dry anywhere. It was wash, drain, peel, and slice.
Okay.
Faster. We started going faster. We started building up the system. And by then, of course, I had employed 2 people. But, we got the system going.
Okay.
We tested it. And you start seeing you need the help. You need the help. If you're doing bookkeeping, like I know bookkeepers, I'm a bookkeeper myself, right? And once you build and you have the system in place, you're going to need an assistant, even if it's just to do data entry. Because when you're a bookkeeper like I am, I'm doing way more than just doing your books. We're talking profit and loss. I am doing business strategy with the clients. I am getting into showing them how the business could be more profitable. So bookkeeper with value, more CFO work versus just ordinary bookkeeping work. So I need somebody there who's helping me do the other stuff. This is important to understand. This is important to get done. Don't feel that you have to do it all. If you're doing it all right now and you don't have the money yet to pay an assistant, that's okay. You still need to build a business as though she or he was there. I used to tell a friend of mine, I said, if it's hard for you to do, get a piece of cardboard, piece of paper, whatever you can, measure your head. Because some people need to be, of course, need to be visual. And write on it, assistant. And so put a staple, and then she put on like a crown on her head, and it said assistant. When she was in the assistant mood, she's only doing the assistant duties. Then she take that off, put on her marketing hat, marketing duties. She needed that. She needed that. She needed to wear 3 hats different times of the week. And that's what she needed to do. And that helped her. So when she was in that mood, she stayed focused. She looked after marketing, whether it was research, planning, whatever she did. When the assistant come in, she pick up and do that. She now being the owner, she did what the owner did. And it helped her day progress so better that she said, Thursday, I was thinking, but I don't need to do anything today. Yeah. The goal was to get her to a 4-day week.
There you go. There you go. Oh my goodness. That is so real. That is so real.
Get into a 4-day week. She just couldn't imagine that she was off on the Friday. She keeps saying, "Do you think I should be doing something else?" I said, "Well, you could, but do you have to?"
Can we try learning how to relax? Can we try actually having a day off?
I said, "This is the time to relax because here's the kicker. The weekend that you think you're getting is usually when you're spending it with family, you're trying to cook, clean
Yeah.
up, do this, do that. When do you really get the day off? So if you can get Friday off when the kids are at school, because she had school kids, when the kids are at school, hubby is at work, this is your day to breathe. You don't have to go and announce it to anybody. You're not hiding, but the truth is, it's your day. You can go,
Hmm.
like a friend of mine said, "Karen, I like to go to the movies in the middle of the day because much people are not there." She go to the
Yes.
movie. She's strolling in the mall and looking at the things that she's not gonna buy, but she's just enjoying eye candy. She
Hmm.
might go have whatever she want to go do, but also giving herself that permission to think about her business as the customers at times, see what she would like in the business versus just from the business owner point of view. All those things that just free up space in the mind for her to come back and really put in time, because the truth is, and I tell people this all the time, you can work 4 to 5 hours in your business daily and you will still have a successful business. Now, initially, it's going to take a lot of hours. Let me tell you straight up, I'm not wrapping this up and pretending it's not true. You're going
Hmm.
to spend a lot of time initially, 12, 14, 16 hours maybe per day when you're starting out for the first year. I'm not going to tell you 3 months. Maybe for the first year, you're going to do that because you're getting the system in place. You're looking at the people you're going to hire. You're making sure you understand. It's not easy to understand marketing, sales, excuse me, communication, great customer service, and having your business. It's not an easy task, but it's a doable task. And
Okay.
you can't just hand off your marketing without understanding what you want. I built my cleaning company advertising on 2 places and then 4 advertisement. But I had to learn how to write ad well because the ad people is going to write my ad. But is it what my company needed? So I had to know to do that before I hand it over, before they come
Gotcha.
in, before they do it, before you sit with them. And I had some really good ad writers. I had this guy from Yellow Pages, an Italian guy. He could have write an ad. I got a lot of big contracts from him right ad, but I
Mm.
still had to come in with my input and we had to talk it over. It took us 90 days to get that together. And I'm going to
Mm.
tell you, Terry, I was impatient. I was like, why is it taking so long? Because I didn't know nothing at the time, probably. That's why.
Yeah.
And he sat with me and he says, "Karen, we want to get this right. We don't only want to put an ad in their books. Those days, you got a big yellow book. We want it to be so good that when they're not looking for anybody else." And wasn't he right or wasn't he right? Yeah.
Evidently he was. Yes, the proof is in the pudding.
Right. So you
Oh
get
my.
there and you get that in place. I'm telling you this thing because I've lived it. I've seen people live it. I've seen them put it in place. Shout out to my client right now who, called me and said out a friend of mine. She is debt free. She got debt free last month. Since we've been working together, she's still in her job
Hmm.
and she has just started her third business. And
Wow.
she's got 2 employees. Okay. The
There you
business are
go.
in the baby's infant stages, so she needs to stay at her job for the rest of this year minimum. I don't
Hmm.
want her to leave the job yet. I want her to stay in the job because it's making her get things, streamlined, level out. Because now that she's debt free, the next goal is to have her investments doing well, so that when she leaves the job, she has that secure. The business is profitable. They're doing what it's supposed to do. And she's not trying to pay the employees. She could pay the employees. So
Yeah.
that's why she's staying on her job. So, shout out to her.
Congratulations. Oh my
you
goodness.
know, right?
And
So
yeah.
that's what we talk. Oh, that's what we talk about today, right? And let me finish by saying, when you get the system built out, now you got to work the system, guys. You
Hmm.
got to work the system that you built in place. Okay.
Hmm. So we want to thank everybody for watching over there live and on the replay, For those of you who may be listening in the clubhouse, we just want to say hey. And Coach, we thank you for emphasizing the fact that we need a system and showing us how to build that system in a simple, easy, cost effective way.
Yes.
So if you're looking to work with Coach Caren, you can find her everywhere at Profits in Daily. She's on
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook. You can direct message her at those places. And I'm going to put the banner back up
Okay.
for Profits in Daily.
Daily.
Yes. And so we want to thank her. She comes in here once a week to give you some tips from a very proven source. She's run daycares, cleaning businesses, she's done fashion retail, all kinds of businesses, and they've been extremely successful. So you want to draw on this wisdom. Make sure you've got your pen and paper. So that you can take notes. Coach Caren, we want to thank you for all that you do.
You're welcome.
And we want to thank you for helping us learn how to build a system.
You're welcome.
Remember, guys, it's okay to make money in your
In
business.
your
If
business,
you
yeah.
need help with your tech, you can contact us here at bizchicks.net, and we'll be glad to help you with that.
Yes.
You can be a part of our community by going to bizchicks.net, filling out a profile. We give workshops, we do office hours, masterminds, and we can help you live stream. We do live stream production. So if you're looking to have an online program, we can help you with that. In the meantime, remember, it's okay to make money in your business. So go
Yes,
to
it
the
is.
front of your own line. Have a great day, and we'll be careful to see you here tomorrow. We'll be talking happy, healthy habits with Robin Shimizu and friends.
Yes.
Same time, same place. Bye bye. Thank you again, Coach.
Oh, you're welcome.